Hello, fellow overthinkers, Metalheads parents, and neurodiverse people of all ages and genders. This is Breakdowns and Breakthroughs. I am Chris.
And I'm Mary.
And we are doing part 2 of our Tiny Humans and Emotional Damage episode. And Mary, let me tell you something. The reason why part 1 was completely abandoned is behind this wall right now.
Yeah.
So let's be quiet. Because as soon as he realizes that there is a camera involved, he's going to come through that door. So let's do this quietly.
He's not going to have like a part 3 because come on. Just silly.
Never say never. We are parents after all.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did left on mental health in fathers, and we did mention about between 8 to 10% of fathers experience paternal postnatal depression. And
Yes.
Yeah, so we mentioned that although men are significantly less likely to seek mental health support than women, so you need to take that in consideration as well. Someone might be suffering from postnatal depression and not seek help, which means that our data is not going to be precise, but it's a very real thing.
It's a lot on we've said this a lot on our podcast, especially on our Man Up episode. It's just that men do need to speak up more. We are hardened. Our shell is like so thick and we don't really want to go around showing weakness. But I was one of those people. I was still doing it into my 30s, and it's only just quite recently I found that you're even stronger when you speak out about the troubles and the issues that you've got going on in your own life. That is true strength, and keeping it all in is it's not good for anybody. That is the reason, obviously, that men are not seeking help, especially with their paternal postnatal issues.
Yeah, I think in general, men are raised to hold the fort and pretend everything is fine. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to financials as well, especially because the mother is on maternity leave and having to focus on the little ones.
There's still talk about men having to provide for families, even though we're talking back 50 odd years ago. The woman would be the housewife and the men would just go out to provide. And that is still sticking with men these days because they're being brought up that way by their parents. Their parents are brought up that way. So it's still going and going, even though now people are like screaming for equality, mostly women screaming for equality.
To demand equality when you're not teaching the boys what equality looks like and give them the skill set of dealing with their own emotions and with a changing world. I think during paternity, there is a lot of emotional isolation because before that baby comes, there is that team, isn't it? That partnership between the wife and the man. But before kids, at least with me, it was very much partnership. And then the baby comes, that tiny human, it does come with a massive emotional damage because you can't not prepare for when a child is there. You don't know how they're going to act. Each baby is different. So the mom is so focused on the tiny human, and then the father is a little bit left on an emotional isolation because his partner is being taken in a way. There is also a lose of identity being a father because everything is new. And then because we haven't taught our boys how to ask for help and how to talk and be in touch with their feelings, there is a lot of not knowing when and how to ask for help. So I think that when it comes to equality between males and females, we need to support the women for the equality, but at the same time, we need to teach the men how to deal with their emotions and how to have those skill sets to be able to ask for help. So that's my opinion.
You're kind of learning at the same time as being a parent, aren't you? When I was doing night courses, my night course teacher would attend a night course prior to my course, learn the stuff at his night course, come to my night course as a teacher, and then teach the stuff that he learned yesterday to us.
Sounds a little bit like poor planning. But I understand the analogy that you made. Yeah, so when it comes to parenting, I don't think there is a book. Actually, there are plenty of books, there are plenty of guides, but they don't really apply. You can take one
They're
tip
all
at my work.
contradictory. They
And
are
yeah,
all
so many
contradictory.
opinions. Yeah, so many opinions, different opinions. Yeah, so that's one thing that it needs to be done. I think that when it comes to parenthood, you need to teach the boys, need to teach the fathers about their own feelings and help them being more in touch with how to act and when to ask for help and what looks helpful for the woman as well, because obviously we just gave birth and it's a lot of hormones, there's a lot of things going on. And I think that, I don't know for you, but that might be a question for you. What about after separation? Did you feel like a little bit disposable?
Yeah, I was just like tossed into the garbage. The grandparents would be chosen over me if his mum had something on. I wouldn't be the first choice. So yeah, I was thrown into the garbage at that point. It happens for reasons like the mother or the father might have a grudge against their ex for whatever they have done in the past. However, the way I see it is that shouldn't be treated as part of how you look after the child, because it's not the child's fault at the end of the day. And how a mother or a father is in a relationship does not rub off on how they are as a mum or dad.
There is a lot of things to consider on each case basis. I think that there are mums that suffered from domestic abuse or when violence is involved. Definitely the father should not be in that person's life. So then it
Agreed.
comes to safeguard and all that, which being a key worker, that's something that we constantly looking at. But I am the type of person that thinks that kids should have both their parents if there is no violence and there is no abuse involved.
I
Again,
agree.
this is case by case. I felt the contrary. I felt that I needed the dad more involved. So we had different stories, isn't it? When you felt like you were just tossed aside, and me being a single mom with 2 kids and wanting the help, but not getting the help because of those reasons that you brought up. There is something that happened in the relationship. Obviously, I was the one who asked for the divorce and pursued the separation. So I guess that my ex was really hurt, and I understand that he was hurt, but he's also a parent. And when you are a parent, unfortunately, you do need to put your feelings aside and think of the well-being of your children. They always first. Kids, for me, always come first.
There's a stereotype with fathers. They would be the first person to walk out the door when everything gets too much, and then they just don't come back. It's like, kids are too much. I'm going to walk out. I'm not coming back. It's that same analogy where it's like, oh, I'm just going off to get some milk, and then they don't come back.
Yeah.
Ever.
Before was cigarettes, isn't it? Back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was either that. But I mean, it's not a misconception, because there are some guys that do that. But because of that, every man now is treated the same after separation. It's like, oh, you're the dad. You don't give a shit about your children, which it's not true. This has happened to me when I'd separated. We'd gone on holiday, and all the time on that holiday, my ex was saying to my son, your dad doesn't care about you. That's not the case, because I want to see him more. And there's dads out there that want to see their children, but they're being portrayed as people that have ended their relationship and don't want to see their children. Not all fathers are like that. I'm not saying all fathers want to see their children, because I know for a fact, having a dad of my own that never wanted to see me or my sister. So there are people out there that give us a bad name.
Yeah, and research actually suggests that 4 in 5 fathers are still present on the children's lives. Obviously, there are more fathers that walk away from the children than mothers, but there is still a massive percentage of fathers who are still in touch, who are there for the children. It's one of the hardest things and traumatic things people go through. So it's giving the father the chance to be there for the children. I just want to make sure that this is very engraved in my statement. There is no safeguarding concern that mothers are giving the fathers the chance. So 1 in 8, but 4 in 5, they still have some contact, but not as much. Because that's the thing. I don't think fathers walk away physically first. I think they walk away emotionally first. And that's a big thing. In the end, all the emotion and baggage stays with mum, and then the dad walks away. But I do think that dad should be more involved. 50-50 should be something that it should be the first thing you try.
Courts are all for 50-50 now in relationships that are broken down. Unless there is a safeguarding concern in place for the child, either on the mother or the father's side, the courts would suggest 50-50.
Mothers are left with no option. Most fathers want the 50-50. But if the father doesn't want the 50-50 and the mum wants the 50-50, there's nothing
You
she
can't
can
do anything
do.
about it.
No.
Nothing you can do
Because
about that.
you can't force someone to be a parent. And in the end, if the father wants, they can go to court and they can do all that. But if the mother wants the father to see the children a little bit more, it doesn't matter if you go to court. It doesn't matter if you go to mediation. It doesn't matter because court can't force someone to be a parent. So me as a single mom who did try to have 50-50, I spent rivers of money on courts and lawyers, and you know how expensive it can get. Being a single mom, not being able to work because kids' school starts at 8:40 and finish at 3:20. How on earth you be able to do a full-time job on those times? You just can't do it. So I see and I acknowledge there is a growth on fathers wanting to be more present. However, in the end of the day, the burden normally falls off into the mom's shoulders.
Yeah.
And the father, no, I need to work, and you're the mother, you need to deal with it. Well, but you're the father. You know what I mean? So you need to step up because I need to do my work as well. Another thing that I don't agree on how things are here in the UK, child maintenance is based on the income of the father. In Brazil, they do more based on the child needs, and it's very different. In Brazil, if you're going to have a good education, you have to pay for private school. The public school is really bad. So they try to take all that in consideration of how much the mom is spending on the kids. And if things are relevant, because, okay, I just got this £100,000 bike and I want him to pay for half of it. No, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? But in this,
also, who's spending £100,000 on a bike?
Well, I don't know. It's just an example. But, you know, it will take in consideration school and the necessities. And when I tell my kid's dad, oh, I need to buy some uniform because Alice is growing so quickly, he would say, oh, that's part of the maintenance. Uniform and extras shouldn't be part of it. Yeah, but it shouldn't be.
No, it is.
Yeah, I know it is. It's considered, but it shouldn't be. Those extras costs should be a buffer from the monthly income that you get and you have to spend. It doesn't matter how many slips I'll bring to child maintenance and say, this is how much I'm spending a month with my kids. They're going to say, doesn't matter. I need to give you what is based on his income. And for two children, he pays 12%. That's it. Of his income. I even got to a point where I was like, well, just have the kids and I'll pay a percentage of my income because I'll have more money left. Take them, you know.
Get rid.
Every time I go pick up the kids from dad's house, it's like, please just go.
Get into your mum's car now. But daddy, no.
No, just get rid. But yeah, it's very imbalanced, I think. At least in my case, it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter. Look, don't get me wrong. I love my kids to death. I revolve around them. But man, I get tired as fuck. Okay, next one. Relationships after children. Do you think your relationship changed a lot after Isaac was born?
No, because it was more teamwork. As soon as Isaac was born, it's not as if like I was sidelined. I was a hands-on dad, apart from the fact if I was working. But I mean, as soon as a child's born, it's just like sleep, wake up, sleep, wake up. And Isaac had a routine straight off the bat where he would just go to sleep for 4 hours, wake up, feed him, he'd go back to sleep, wake up after 4 hours again. And he got into this routine where it was just like 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And it was constant. And you could almost predict when he was going to wake up. So in terms of the relationship breaking down, no, I don't think it was anything to do with the child whatsoever.
Okay. Now, for me, I breastfed for about 6 months. Logan was lactose intolerant when he was newborn. So I managed to breastfeed him for about 3 or 4 months. And then the lactose intolerance started to flare up and stuff. So we start giving him a special formula, and I will pump and give Alice my breast milk. But I do think my relationship changed a lot. I think that the satisfaction of being in a relationship drops a lot. I felt completely overwhelmed, even though Dad was really hands on in a way. He could do the feeds and all that. But when it comes to being a couple, there was a massive change in our relationship. There's no date nights. There's a lot of being a roommate more than a couple, you know.
Yeah, date nights never really happened, but we never really went anywhere on dates. I mean, my ex-wife was all about getting money and then not spending any of it. So if she could get away with not going anywhere and spending money, then she would just be happy just to pocket it. So we never went anywhere on date nights. But date nights, I mean, for normal parents now, a date night is eating takeaway silently and just hoping that nobody wakes up in the house. The kids are
Yeah.
asleep. And you're just like, would you like a Chinese? And they'd be like, oh, I'd love a Chinese. And then someone knocks at the door. It's like, I hope the kids don't wake up, but I've got my Chinese.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the fear of that little child waking up, and they go like, no. Yeah,
It's the same. It's the
it's a
same
real
with
fear, mate.
Same with your sex life as well, because as soon as your child starts walking, you're very scared of them just walking in on you. You don't want any children walking in whilst you're being intimate with each other. And again, as another thing as well, romance and your sex life is basically just like the woman getting on top or the man getting on top, and then the first words before it all starts is, "Shh, don't wake the baby.
Yeah.
Be quiet."
And it does take a time as well for the woman to have that drive again as well, isn't it? Especially with
Yeah.
such a young babies, which is understandable that he's going to go through a phase. But I think it's important for you to water your relationship, like go on dates, even if it's just a takeaway, get childcare when you can. Obviously, I'm a foreigner, no family around, so childcare is very lacking. But I think that for new parents, my advice would be make sure you spend time with each other and find new stuff that you have in common. Nurture that, and because it's very easily taken away by the children, very, very easily. I think that women also get a massive mental load that we already care. Without kids, when you add kids to the equation, it's even more. So I think dads should be a little bit more emotional intelligent and learn those skills to support your partner during this natal phase of your lives. Because I think I said this before and I will say this again. I think that if I had one child, I'll probably will be able to continue in the relationship. But because I had two at once, it was massive mental load for me. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel supported and I didn't feel helped. I felt super overwhelmed that it made me super sick. If your partner, wife, whatever is pregnant, or even if you are a same-sex couple and you're expecting to adopt a child, or I think that it's one of the things that I should have done throughout my pregnancy. It was feeling connected with your partner, because I didn't understand at the time the impact that it would have in my relationship, especially being a twins mum. So yeah, that's where I stand.
Nothing says passion in a relationship, though, Mary, about two parents just laid in bed next to each other, just having a nice little cuddle, discussing the rest of their week on how to plan the nursery schedule.
Yay.
Oh, darling,
Super fun.
what's happening with the children tomorrow?
And the thing is normally it falls off on the woman's task list, arrange, you know what I mean? And the father's just like, yeah, darling, whatever you say.
Yeah, because we don't want to argue with women, because I know if we argue, we're just going to either we're going to be correct, but we're going to be scared that we're correct. So we just have to say to the woman, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's fine. Because if I don't say you're right, then you're just going to be in a mood for the rest of the fucking month.
Well, that's the thing. When I was breastfeeding, it was really hard. You need to understand that breastfeeding twins is nothing glamorous about it. Yeah, I would walk around the house with my boobs out. And then when I
Yeah.
breastfed, I had one child here and the other child here. And then once I moved a little, this child would get out. And then I moved this one and then that one get out. And then they cry and then I cried. And then I look at my ex-husband and said, it's all your fault.
I have a question. What happens if you had triplets? Would you grow another boob?
Okay. Maybe use yours.
Mine? You won't get out of
Yeah.
that.
Well, there are hormones for that. There you go. Do something useful. Make food for your children through your boobs, your man boobs. Yeah, so now parenthood can trigger your own traumas. That's another section. So having children often forces people to confront their own childhood. Did you feel like that?
So it's kind of like self-reflection. Is that what you're saying? So basically, when I was a child, my mum and dad were divorced around Isaac's age now, 8 years old.
Okay.
And then my dad wasn't much of a dad. He went off with his new family, and then it was just like me and my sister were fodder. We weren't like important anymore. And then I reflect on that and think to myself, okay, if I ever got divorced, which I am, I would not be like that. My dad found another family and it was just like, right, okay, me and my sister were just thrown away in a trash bag somewhere. I wouldn't be like that with Isaac. And even if I got into a relationship with another woman with another child, I still wouldn't stop loving my own son, my firstborn, as I do now. When I was first a parent, that was going through my head because I've always said to people, especially in my family, that I would never go and be what my dad was when I was a child
Yeah.
because he just wasn't in the frame. He just really didn't want to be about. So if we're talking about self-reflection, yeah, of course, I did that when I was a parent for the first time.
Yeah, I think that by my research, there is something that is called ACE, which is Adverse Childhood Experiences, which means that it's things you went through your childhood. For example, if someone is witnessing domestic violence, I think when you become a parent, if you witness domestic violence when you're a child, it brings childhood traumas to flourish. It comes back, and then you're like, oh my God, I don't want this to happen to my child. And then it comes the breaking a cycle. So I think it brings a lot of families' traumas that keeps bringing from generation to generation. So I think I spoke to you about this last week when we were download that my grandma passed away in a car accident. It was a car accident that my granddad was driving. She always listened her whole life that her dad killed her mom. So that's a
Yeah,
burden to carry throughout your childhood. But she broke the cycle. She kind of did the same thing that she'd done that happened to her, which it was a parenting alienation, but wasn't coming from her mom. It was coming from her maternal grandmother saying
right.
all those bad things about her dad. And then I think that my mom, once she separated from my dad, started bringing that cycle back into the generation and completely parent alienated me towards my dad. I think I got into a point in my life where I hated my dad and I was always defending my mom. But I was a child. My brain wasn't developed. So I
Yeah,
couldn't understand about it. But now me as a parent, I avoid in all costs to do that parent alienation
yeah,
because we need to break the cycle. And then every time my kid's going to go see their dad, even though it's not a lot, I always hype them up. And it was like, oh my God, you're going to have so much fun. Your dad misses you. He loves you very much. My mom, up to this day, I'm 40 fucking 1 years old. And the other day, my mom got really drunk and told me my dad never loved me. I'm 41. And I was like, Mom, when you going to stop doing this? My dad is dead. He's gone. He can't defend himself. So the cycle needs to break at some point when it comes to generations,
yeah.
right?
My ex-wife is so immature. She's very emotionally immature in that if something happens, she would not hide it from her own son. She would just go and tell him straight away. There'd be no protection. It would just be like, right, your dad did this, and this is why your dad did this, and this is what your dad is because he's done this. And she did it when the relationship ended. She told him why the relationship ended. She told him whose fault it was. She told him, like I said to you earlier on when we were on holiday, she said to him that I didn't care about him. So it's emotional immaturity and it's parental alienation. And I've mentioned it to her before, but she still does it behind closed doors. Now, I have not once said to my son, despite all of her saying this shit about me, I have not once said that he is not loved by his mum. I have not once gone into detail about how much of a bad wife she was. I've not gone down that route because I don't think it's something he needs to know. He just needs to focus on being a child. Like you said, again, there's children of 8 years old, their brain isn't fully developed. So they're not really going to understand what relationships are. So why do you need to go to the lengths of explaining the reason why a relationship broke up in the first place? You don't. A kid just wants to be a kid. Kids are only interested in about beating a high score on a video game, or I don't know, just going around playing with his mates, playing tag in the sunshine. Don't really want to dwell down on a reason why your mum and dad broke up. That's not how it should be. So, yeah,
No.
when it comes to it, parental alienation, I think in both cases, both adults, for their own child's sake, need to be mature about the whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And kids will grow up and you can only protect them as much as you want, but the truth is going to come out at some point. In the end of the day, the true parent, they're going to see. Like me and my dad, in the end, we stopped building a relationship when I was about 24, even though he raised me. And I wasn't raised without a dad. I would see him and everything, but we were always fighting, me and him, because my mom would talk about my dad. And then when I was 24, I started talking to him again. And he passed away.
That's unfortunate.
I know. But then I talked to his sisters, I talked to my mom's sisters, and they give me a completely different perspective of what my mom gave me. So in the end, thankfully, I managed to learn a little bit more about my dad and how he felt about me. And all my aunts say, no, your dad was crazy about you. You were his firstborn and all that. My dad actually didn't want to have another child. He only wanted me. So, yeah, and my mom kind of tricked him and got pregnant. I think she was, in between birth controls or something like that. But yeah, parenting can give you massive emotional damage, but can also heal you. Because of my kids, I've forgiven my mom for everything because parents are not perfect. So I've forgiven her.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. She is a bit crazy, and I think I learned my ways how to deal with her. She's 64. She's not going to change. She is who she is. I don't expect her to change. Cool. But she's my mom at the end of the day. And it doesn't matter what you do. You will give your children trauma. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try. In the end, it's their perspective and you can't control that.
Just a point on the giving your child traumas, because it seems like every parenting choice that you come out with these days is a future topic for a child to discuss with a therapist. Do you not think? It's like, let's just think about the future. One of your children might just go to therapy in the near future and be like, I don't like cats because my mummy stepped on my cat's paw or something like that. But I'm just saying that it's just like every parenting choice that you come out with now, it just seems to be that when you talk to your therapist, how much do you talk to them about your child,
Not
about
that
what your
much.
parents did? Not much. They don't delve
Not that much.
as deep, because there are therapists out there which will go deep and deep and deep into your childhood, and that's why I was saying that when you're a child, you pick up all of these traumas and they stay with you for the rest of your life, and then you end up going to therapy, and then you just think, well, you just start spilling the beans because,
Chris,
again, it's
how
the
do you
reason.
think that I have under control my feelings between mom and dad and all this trauma that came within the family? A lot of therapy for me to get to this point and say, I've forgiven my mom. She is who she is. I accept her how it is. I understand that back then I didn't understand what I know now, but there was a lot of, for me to come across the way I'm able to at this moment in time and articulate all the feelings I went through with the fight between my mom and dad. It's just fucking loads of hours of therapy. And when I used to drink, I used to cry over this stuff. But again, drinks and drugs and alcohol is not going to fix your traumas. What is going to fix your traumas?
No.
Therapy. That's it. You can take
to
away the
therapy.
alcohol, the feeling's going to still there. They're going to be there.
Yeah.
For you to process that, you need to do a lot of therapy. And this podcast is made based on mental health.
Yeah, and we've said it before that drugs are only just an escape. They're not anything else other than. So, yeah, therapy is the way forward.
Is the way forward.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not a therapist, by the way.
Neither am I.
But there is a girl that I really want to interview on Instagram, and she's the metalhead therapist. And there is the ones that we found that download the heavy metal therapy as well, that we're starting to get involved with them. So if you are a metalhead and you want something more aligned to that, we can put the links and the socials if you guys want to follow those people. We're not linked with them just yet, but some projects coming through, isn't it?
We are in the pipeline, yes.
Yeah, they are in the pipeline, yeah. We can't announce anything yet, but if you guys want to check them out, I think it's worth it. And that brings to the whole pressure of being the perfect parent, isn't it? And the guilt that comes with that. How many times, Chris, you came to me and then you said something around the lines, oh, I'm really tired. I wish I could stay home, but I really need to take Isaac out and do some activities with him.
It happens a lot because I only see him a certain amount of times a week and like every other weekend. I'm not seeing him as much as I want to see him. I'm currently going through a fight for that. But if you don't see your son a lot, you just feel the need to do something with them. If you come home from work after a busy day and you're seeing your child on an evening and you just want to like slump over on a sofa, you feel the guilt because, I mean, he's been at school all day. He just wants to come home and let off some steam. And some of that letting off some steam might want to be hanging around with his dad. He might want to go to the park. He might want to run around. He might want to play on some video games, just chill out, watch a movie or whatever. But when you come home from work, you don't have all that energy because at the end of the day, you are now a 40-year-old person with bad knees. And you don't really want to walk around.
Remember, download. Everybody go down. No, I can't get up, back up.
Yes, I'm sitting down. So, yeah. But when you do come home, you are just tired, as we are now getting to our ages. We are just tired. You just want to not do much. And look, me and Isaac do a lot of stuff together. We go trampolining, we go to the park, we record for his own podcast. Isaac explains everything. And yeah, we do quite a lot of stuff together, but there's going to be times where you are burnt out. I've got ADHD, I've mentioned before. A part of that is emotional burnout. And it's just, you don't really want to do anything in those stages. Isaac's happy when he's here because he gets to see me and we get to just sit down and watch a movie, or he gets to just go and play on a video game on the times when we're just chilling. But yeah, I'm just here to say that there is no such thing as a perfect parent. You parent the way you want to parent. Everyone's doing their best. You don't have to go out and be seen as a bright, sparkly parent pushing a fucking $1 million pram
Instagram.
down. Yeah, you don't want to be that person. Reality knows we're all just trying our best. There is no perfect parent. And if you are tired and you do feel guilty, it's just normal. Everyone has it.
Yeah. For me, the experience that I have as a parent, obviously I'm 90% of the time with my kids.
I thought you were going to say you're 90 years old.
That as well. I'm all the time with the kids. And if I don't go out and do stuff with them, there's a big chance that my house is just going to become upside down. But some days I just put my foot down. And then I said, no, I am so tired. You guys are overstimulated. I'm overstimulated. Let's just chill. But then, I don't know if it's just me, today's Saturday, we're probably going to go out soon because it's nice and there's sun and all that and take the dog out. But I'm just going to stay home and watch a film this weekend. I spent the whole weekend at Download last weekend and then I worked all week and I am super tired and I have shit tons of things to do. So they're just going to have to deal with it. And I still feel guilty. The guilt doesn't go. You just learn how to deal with it. I learned that the guilt is always going to be in the background there, like, you're not doing anything with your kids. And then you're just like, shut the fuck up.
The thing that I found was when I started not believing in the perfect parent thing when Isaac was maybe 5 or 6 months old, because you get given an app and you can track on the app how your baby will progress every month. So like the first month, your baby will smile within 4 to 6 weeks. And then your baby will start doing this in month 2 and your baby will start doing this in month 3. When I realized that by month 6, Isaac wasn't doing nearly enough of the stuff that's on this app, I was there thinking, well, okay,
It's
all
broken.
babies
Send
should
it
be
back.
doing this. Yeah, all babies should be doing this. Just put it back in. Just
It's not cooked properly.
all babies should. This is what the app said. But and I'm a first time father. All babies should be doing all of this stuff by the time they're 6 months old. And Isaac, obviously being autistic, he was behind. So I saw this, looked at it, started Googling it, started wondering, and then go on some Facebook groups, start chatting to people who have got neurodiverse children, and they'll be like saying, well, he could be this, he could be that. And I mean, at the end of the day, I used to just think he was a lockdown baby and it was just lack of socialization, which was the reason for his lack of development. But it's saying that, fair enough, by 6 months, all these kids should be doing this. Children develop in a certain way, and adults also develop in a certain way. A perfect parent to somebody might be different to somebody else. No one is the same. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube seems to portray the perfect family as sitting around a table having a meal together. I can't remember the last time I sat around a table and had a meal with anybody.
Just did this morning. It was nice.
Really? Oh, that was very
Yeah,
nice.
we had breakfast together, but we don't do that every night. We don't. It's not
No,
a thing.
it's like, so you just sat around and had breakfast together. I would give Isaac breakfast and he would eat it separate to me. But that doesn't make me any less of being a parent than it makes you of being a parent, does it? Because my way of parenting and your way of parenting are completely different. But in the same way, we both think that we're good parents. So
Yeah, I think
the way.
that people need to be, because that shows empathy in my perspective. I think that you understanding that parents are different and things work differently for each family, it's empathy. You understand that. But when I was with the kids in Brazil, I got a lot of people saying, oh, you need to put them in sports. Sports is really important. They need to do all the sports that they can do. And I was like, Alice is not really good at sports. Why am I going to force her? She's not even good at living.
She's not even good at standing up.
Standing up, like she's standing up, she falls. And then I'm going to force this little kid to do sports that she's not really into. Like, I don't agree with that. I think that it goes for each family how they feel that is the best for their own family. Yeah, so that stuff that I heard in Brazil when I brought the kids the first time, it was like, you're really going to give cold water to the kids? And I just looked, just like, you can't give cold water to the kids, but they're only 9 months. It's water. And it's just like,
the human body is like a massive percentage of water. It's not going to kill the child.
I think that it's a lot of pressure on parents. I was the type of person that would sit in a restaurant and there is a kid screaming, and I would say, I would never bring my kids to a restaurant like this. I'm the one screaming in restaurants nowadays. Alice, stop! So it's just it's just feeling compassion and empathy with parents, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trends online of you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And then it comes with the fear of judgment as well, which I think I suppress that as much as I could. At this moment in time, I'm not feared of judgment at all. I don't give a shit anymore.
No, I used to be. I used to be. There was a time when Isaac may have been about 6 months and we'd gone into a bank I don't really remember the reason why we were in there, but Isaac was like screaming at the top of his lungs, properly baby crying. You couldn't really calm him down. And we're in the queue. All we wanted to do was just open this bank account or deposit some money or whatever. The bank had a queue, and all I could sense was all of these people just looking and judging that we had a crying baby, and we couldn't really quiet him down. But at the end of the day,
He is a baby.
how do you reason with a 7-month-old? Number
You
one,
can't.
they can't really understand you. Number two, they can't really communicate with you apart from the fact that they're crying to tell you that something's wrong. They can't tell you what's wrong. So, but then you get all these people, these judgy people, which maybe probably don't even have kids or maybe have forgotten about how difficult having a child is, just looking at you as if to say, you are not a good parent. But I mean,
But yeah,
it just
I
happens though,
get
isn't it?
that all the time. My kids are loud. We're South Americans, and I don't give a shit anymore. Another thing that irritates me is the new generation of parents and their damn gentle parenting. You can gentle parent kids who are gentle. My kids are not gentle. You
You
know what I
can do
mean?
whatever the hell you like. If it's behind your own doors, if you want to gentle parent, you gentle parent. You do parenting the way you want to parent. Just don't shove it down other people's fucking throats.
Like,
You
exactly.
do your own parenting, but don't just go onto YouTube and say, right, every other parent is shit. You need to be doing this to be an actual real parent. No, you fucking do not. Just, if you want a gentle parent, you do what you want to do behind your own fucking door. I don't want people shoving their fucking parenting down my throat because I'm not going to listen to anybody else about how I parent. I parent the way I.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you. It was a night that Alice just did not want to listen. And I tried to reason with her. I tried to taking points of her. I tried to send her to a room. Like every fucking thing on the books, I tried. And she just looked at me and the motherfucker. She just looked at me and said, Mommy, I'm going to be naughty today. Tomorrow I'll be good. You're going to be good right now? No, just tomorrow. And what do you do with that? What gentle parenting I'm going to say to her this moment in time. So it's just, there is no way. They always going to fuck you off. You're always going to get pissed off and give them the next therapy topic for the next therapy session. It doesn't matter.
But again,
Yeah.
you parent the way you parent, the way that you do it. It's not wrong. It's just the way that
It's
you
what works for
parent.
you.
It's what works for anybody.
So I think that the problem isn't the children. I think it's more about us parents. We're expected to survive emotionally without any support. And that's why, again, mental health, therapy, groups, whatever you can get your hands on. If you're struggling mentally, you should seek help. You should get your mental health in check, because once your mental health is in check, things come easier.
I think you'll become a better parent if your mental health is in check too. Because it's not only just going to rub off on you, it's going to rub off on your child. And my child is a really big empath. If he could pick out if something is wrong, he might not come over to you and ask you straight away if something's wrong. It might not be like, what's wrong, daddy? He will notice. And when he notices, his mood changes, which it's not good.
Yeah,
So
it
if
does
your
affect
mental
him.
health is in check, yeah, you're going to have a happier child. If you're going to be a parent as well as being depressed, you can try and mask, but you're not going to be able to mask it too much. It's very exhausting to try and mask depression,
Yeah.
and kids will pick up on it like that.
Again, I'm sorry, I didn't do any research on this topic specifically, but I've seen research about what makes a child happy, like measuring child happiness. So if the mom is happy, the children will be happy. But I don't think it's fair to say mums per se. I think it's the main parent. If that parent is happy, then automatically the children will be more emotional imbalanced. Because this is one thing that I ask my children often. Do you think mommy is happy? Or do you think mommy is
Yeah.
a sad person? Or do you think mommy is hungry? Because I want to see their perspective on how I act on my day-to-day. Obviously, you get sad sometimes, and that's part of life. You can't hide that from your children. I don't hide from my children. When I'm sad, I cry in front of them. It's part of life, and it's okay to cry, and it's okay to feel sad. You shouldn't be bearing your emotions. If you see you bearing your emotions, they're going to bury their emotions. So I do have a very open relationship with my kids. Everything that happens in my life, they kind of know what's going on, obviously as appropriate, as depending on the topic. But I do ask them, do you think that mommy is a happy person or a sad person? And they always say, I'm very happy. But because of that, because I know that my emotional state, it will affect them. I want to see what they think of me, because they watch me day in, day out. We wake up together, we go to bed together. So here in my household now that I am a single mom, is a lot of music, a lot of dancing, a lot of let's wake up happy. I'm not saying that my life is perfect, far from it. What I'm saying is that we have fun. And me being me, I tend to put loud music. We're loud, we dance, we listen to music while we're in the shower. We play games like, what band is this? And then I give them 3 options, and then they try to guess what band it is.
Brought them up well.
I'm trying. There's a lot of Britney Spears and anything going on lately, but you know what I mean?
I mean, kids will be kids. They don't know what they want when they're young.
Well, the closing message for this episode is struggling does not make you a bad parent. It's okay to struggle.
No.
And asking for help matters a lot, and is going to make your life more easy. Being honest, I think as well, it matters quite a bit. And us parents, especially the single ones, we do deserve support. We do deserve time for ourselves. It's okay to have time for yourself and not have your kids. You don't have to feel guilty. Anything else from you, Christopher?
I just want to mirror exactly what you have just said, really. It's like the perfect parent. If you are a new parent, if you have just brought in a child to this world, congratulations, first and foremost. You've got a journey ahead of you.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club, yeah. But you do not have to be this perfect family. There's no pressure for you to see mummies in the park playing with their children, and then you have to think, well, I have to go and do the same. You just parent the way you need to parent. There's nobody, even if people might have their own judgy feelings, at the end of the day, you are that child's parent. Their father is that child's parent. You both have parental responsibilities, and you are both the boss of that child. So you parent the way you want to parent, and just don't let anybody else tell you how to. Yeah, if you have got little children's little beasts, then as much as I want to say congratulations, I also want to give you my deepest sympathies, because I know how difficult it is to look after these people.
One little thing I want to say, I don't think that struggling makes you a bad parent. Being a good parent is not about struggling, it's about showing up, being there. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just be there for them.
We agree, don't we? We agree, don't we?
So, this has been Breakdowns and Breakthroughs. This has been my bald-headed dad, bald-headed Chris. This is...
And I'm Mary, and this is Alice. Thank you, guys.
And thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will be back again next week. See you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.